Wrestling fans love social media and their wrestling-orientated YouTube channels, but is this bad for the industry, good for the industry, or something in the middle? Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at whether YouTube and social media are ruining the WWE. First, let's look at why it's bad for the WWE, as number 1, there's too much wrestling content. The argument can be made there's just too much wrestling content online and that it hurts the television product. Thanks to YouTube and WWE.com, fans have constant access to matches, interviews, or repeats of angles. How much is enough? While the WWE has stopped airing YouTube videos concurrently with their shows, fans who miss Raw and SmackDown can tune in not long after and check out highlights from the various shows. Once upon a time, fans would have to tune in the next week to catch a replay of an angle or title change, or even wait months to see it released on home video. The WWE doesn't seem to mind cannibalizing its content, but why tune into Raw or SmackDown when you can watch the highlights on YouTube and they only last about 2 or 3 minutes? This could partly explain the WWE's dwindling audience, as fans don't have to, or don't want to for that matter, sit through 3 hours of Raw for a few good segments. Number 2. Giving away storylines. There's no doubt that social media has led to spoilers for storylines, whether it's the return of superstars or big turns. Now, dirt sheets have existed for decades, but it wasn't until the information superhighway made it easy for websites to cut and paste stories from the sheets that fans had so much information at their fingertips. This has only increased as social media spreads the news even faster, whether it's journalists reporting on their Twitter accounts or fans posting links to news sites. There are of course also YouTube channels that pass on news and let fans know what they can expect in the near future. Social media and YouTube have also made it impossible for the WWE to keep the results of taped shows from leaking, but in all fairness, that's been the case since the 90s, whether it's the internet or rival promoters giving away taped results. Other than a few title changes, what has really been kept secret in WWE? Even Goldberg's return match to face Dolph Ziggler was spoiled a week in advance. Number 3. Exposing the business. While the WWE gave up portraying its in-ring matches as legitimate competition back in the 1980s, the company still likes to maintain the illusion that it's reality so that fans can willfully suspend their disbelief. That's become difficult though due to the power of high-definition TV and the ability to break down shows frame by frame. This has led to fans showing how incredible stunts such as Braun Strowman tipping over an ambulance are performed, and also why certain wrestlers are enjoying pushes and others are being jobbed to. Number 4. Too much negativity towards WWE. Guilty. Like any entertainment medium, wrestling fans are vocal in their praise and their criticism of what they see every week. However, the internet has made it easy for people to voice their pleasure and their displeasure, whether it's posting on wrestling forums or launching tirades on social media such as Facebook or Twitter. This in turn has even led to wrestlers lashing out at fans for their comments and or actions, leading to wrestler rants that hurt their reputation with fans. Yes, we're talking to you, Seth Rollins. The question becomes who's complaining due to legitimate criticism and who's complaining just to stir the pot. Something we'll get to next is number 5. Have you punched a smark lately? Any fan who attended a live event knows there have always been idiots who try to make the show about themselves, but over the last decade, things have gone off the rail as social media has made it cool for fans to hijack shows. Case in point, 2018's Extreme Rules Iron Man match between Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins, where fans ruined the show for at least one person in the attendance. The 30-minute match gave the two stellar athletes enough time to deliver a contest that was expected to steal the show, especially considering the quality of their 2 previous bouts on Raw. But instead of that, this bout summed up why wrestling fans often ruin wrestling in the modern era. While the countdown clock on the video screen showed the progress of the match, the majority of the fans in attendance waited for the 10-second mark each time the minutes ticked down and counted along to be able to make a siren noise to imitate the Royal Rumble clock. So every 50 seconds, most of the audience would repeat this process without following any of the action in the ring. It's one thing to cheer or boo a wrestler, but it's arguable that social media has lowered fans' respect for wrestlers, leading to disrespectful displays such as fans bringing beach balls to events, or when they booed the unveiling of the Universal Championship in 2016, as well as the match where Seth Rollins and Finn Balor fought for it. The fans' boos carried over into the match, leading Finn Balor to think the fans were unhappy with him. When the crowd was saying, "I think that belt sucks," I was working over Seth and I thought they were saying Balor sucks. So I was like, they turned on me fast. I knew they were booing the belt, but I thought most of it was aimed at me. Seth Rollins voiced his displeasure on Twitter, chastising the fans in the audience, saying, "More important than a title's appearance is what it represents for the men fighting over it. You really let me down tonight, Brooklyn." But that's why social media and YouTube is bad for business, but what about how it's good for business? Number 1, it's additional revenue. Although the argument can be made that providing access to content via YouTube or the WWE's website might diminish Raw and SmackDown ratings, the reality is that it brings in additional revenue for the WWE and it can lead to viral videos boosting the company's television ratings. If a fan missed the Raw where Brock Lesnar destroyed Seth Rollins, it's possible he watched it on YouTube and decided to tune into Raw the next week and/or watch SummerSlam. The reality is that the media world continues to evolve and not everyone watches traditional television anymore. The WWE is wise in expanding the various means fans can utilize for watching WWE content, whether it's on streaming services such as Hulu or YouTube. Number 2, it can be used to work the fans. Although there are proven instances of fans getting wind of storylines before they happen, the WWE has been dealing with this for decades, and as we know, Vince McMahon often changes storylines at the last minute. The WWE has also shown an ability to use insider information to swerve fans, such as when it made it appear Sasha Banks wanted out of the promotion, only for her to return to Raw in epic fashion. The WWE has its flaws, but it's become savvy at utilizing YouTube and social media to entice fans and build suspense. While All Elite Wrestling seems to be ahead of the curve when it comes to social media and YouTube, the WWE is also adept. Number 3. The WWE benefits from social media exposing the business. The business has been exposed for decades, and although there are things that WWE obviously would like to keep under wraps, such as superstars' arrests or negative publicity, they also have a cottage industry based on exposing the business, reality shows such as Total Divas and Ride Along, or using social media to keep fans updated on WWE news. Number 4. Social media can gauge the fans. As we've just seen with the case of Buddy Murphy, social media can give the WWE ideas for steering storylines into new directions. Word has it Murphy was not supposed to be a participant in the Roman Reigns storyline about the Big Dog's mystery attacker until a fan saw Murphy backstage during the angle and speculated Murphy might be the culprit. Speculation spread on social media and the WWE noticed, adding Murphy to the storyline. The WWE doesn't always listen to its fans, but social media is one way to measure the fans' opinions on things, changing storylines if they so wish. But that was looking at the good and the bad. How would have social media impacted the Attitude Era? Would it still have been a success? And while the internet was beginning to pick up steam during the Attitude Era, social media was still years away, as was YouTube. With most people still utilizing dial-up services to access the internet, there wasn't enough power to download videos as there is today. However, what if there was YouTube and social media during the Attitude Era? Would they have been as successful with fans having access to backstage gossip, future storylines, as well as the ability to criticize the WWF and its talent non-stop? The answer seems to be yes, and largely because the WWF product was much better than it is today. Fans are always going to grumble about wrestlers, storylines, and the overall quality of the product no matter how good it is. However, as promotions learned when they began utilizing the internet, wrestling fans love talking about the sport both with one another and other wrestlers. While social media has made it easier to interact with fans and wrestlers, the means of doing so existed for fans during the Attitude Era. Fans could go on chat groups on internet service providers such as America Online, Prodigy, and CompuServe. Just as today, fans access gossip and news, shared their opinions about wrestlers' latest happenings, and on occasion made spectacles of themselves before being banned. During the Attitude Era, fans were aware of the inner workings of the WWF and its competitors, such as the events of the Montreal Screwjob, Vince Russo jumping into WCW, and other key events in this key period of wrestling history. A good example of this is when fans booed Vince McMahon mercilessly after the Montreal Screwjob, forcing McMahon to become Mr. McMahon. The fans didn't need social media because the internet was heavily used by wrestling fans and they spread the word to fans who weren't online. If social media existed, the information would have spread faster, but it's difficult to think of it hindering the WWF. The WWF was enjoying one of its most creative periods, and the fans would have responded via social media to share their thoughts. Had social media existed during the Montreal Screwjob, there would have been a tremendous backlash against Vinnie Mac, but the end results would have been the same. So ultimately, is YouTube and social media ruining WWE today? Let's look at the verdict. Well, the bottom line is that social media and YouTube are tools for a promoter to use. Use social media, don't let social media use you applies to professional wrestling as well as individuals. There are certainly negatives to social media, but the positives outweigh them, and as both AEW and the WWE have shown, they can be valuable tools in any promotional effort. As for YouTube, you can watch as little or as much wrestling content as you wish. Yes, there are spoilers that exist, but they also exist on social media, but you still have the power to subscribe and unsubscribe to any channels you wish. But there you have it, guys. Whether social media and YouTube are killing the WWE right now. What's your opinion on this? Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, ironically, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.